Well, that is really a question I can't answer easily because I don't know. Well, I'm not sure what really happens when I'm not here. The Rwandans contribute a lot, make things happen. So Rwanda has been there before me, before I was born. Make sure that every penny that we have goes in the right place.
Thank you, sir. So we will now begin taking questions from the media. If you allow, we can take one at a time. Let's start with any questions? Swedish radio? Please remember to introduce yourself and the media house you represent before asking your question.
Is it on? Richard Marienberg, Swedish radio. Just a very short question. After the elections, what will be on top of your to-do list? What's your priority number one?
The priority number one after we've gone through all this is to continue to make as much progress as we can in the area of security and stability of our country, socio-economic development, progress, and continuing to see the country really grow in all aspects of development. So it's just the same path we have been on, rebuilding our country, growing it towards prosperity. That is what is preoccupying us.
Thank you, sir. Let's have another question. NBS, Canary.
Thank you. My name is Canary Mbume from NBS TV. My question is, with the percentages from your victory in the past elections, it is evident that the Rwandans still want you to be their leader, and I will not be surprised after what comes out after Monday. My question is, what does Rwanda without Paul Kagame look like in your own eyes? Because as a leader of today, is it something that bothers you at night that at some point when you are not here, Rwanda should not plunge into chaos yet again?
Well, I'm not sure what really happens when I'm not here. I don't want to guess and just start imagining things. I do what I have to do while I'm here, and I'm doing it with the people of this country as not only you have seen, but also what you've just referenced, what has happened in the past. I don't think there is Kagame only. It is Kagame with these people, you see. We make progress because we are together. And these people, the Rwandans, contribute a lot, make things happen. I only provide leadership as by their choice. So, and I'm sure when I'm not there, there will be another choice they will make. The choice that can even lead them better without ruling out the fact that, yes, things may not be as good as they have been. But that is life, that's what happens. So Rwanda has been there before me, before I was born, or before I came back to this country, because I have lived outside of it for a long time as a refugee, and you know the story. I was a refugee in Uganda, and many other colleagues who are behind the progress we are making. A number of them have been refugees in many other parts of the world, mainly the region, whether it is Burundi, Tanzania, Kenya, many others, Uganda with me, and beyond. So the story is that Rwanda has been there and will always be there, like all other countries. The Rwandans will enjoy being Rwandans in different ways or contexts. Others have suffered, many, for being Rwandans, like we have seen, again, owing to bad politics. So I can only really answer for what we are doing as Rwandans when I'm here as their leader. What happens when I'm gone will happen. I don't know what it is. But I imagine among these Rwandans there are people who can lead this country even better than I can or have done. So it's a story, by the way, that goes on everywhere in the world, whether it is where you come from or other countries in the region or beyond, or these rich, developed countries. Yes, leaders come and go, and different things happen owing to the leader who is in place, or the politics around that supports that leader, and things keep changing. So Rwanda is not any different.
Thank you, sir. Let's have some questions in the back. Isli Voice, and then Label TV.
Good afternoon, Mr. President. My name is Amina Wako from the Isili Voice, Kenya. And my question is, as East African, we see the back and forth about peace in Eastern Congo. Is Rwanda an obstacle to that peace? And in your perspective, what do you think the East African community and the AU and the international community should do to ensure the sustainability of peace in the Eastern Congo and the region at large? Thank you.
This subject, matter of Eastern Congo, peace and stability for Rwanda, for the region, and for Congo and beyond, has been an issue for a long time. I even don't know how to explain it so that a week or two or a month from now you don't ask me the same question. Because I've been asked this question like 100 times. I've tried to explain, I've given context, I've given the history and why this problem exists. but it keeps coming back. And by the way, again, if you are talking about the current problem in Eastern Congo, one, you may not wish to detach it from, I want to repeat that Eastern Congo is Congo. It's not another country on its own. So when you're talking about Eastern Congo problems, you're talking about Congo's problems. And people always miss that. I don't know why. But the history of it, I try to be brief. That problem has the thing called the M23, has been there for a long time, and the conflict arising out of or involving M23 has happened twice. The first one was in 2012. Now the other one is just recent. But in between there was a 10-year period. If you were a very keen observer or journalist, you would try to link the two and ask yourself, why? Why did we have this problem in 2012? And then we have it 10 years later again. All it means simply is that the problem actually was not resolved then. Otherwise, if it had been resolved, you wouldn't have it again 10 years after. The very same problem. But if you don't know, let me again repeat. The Eastern Congo problem is twofold. One is that of the Congolese citizens who are persecuted and uprooted from that place and sent outside as refugees, others killed, others imprisoned, others so on and so forth. And simply because they are called Tutsis. In other words, the kind of politics behind it is that maybe these people called Tutsis don't belong here, they belong to Rwanda. Or in other circumstances, they would belong to Burundi because they have the same population configuration. Now, then when you look at it deeply, and by the way, even the Congolese admit this, the Congolese government or leaders, they say these people are actually Congolese. Now, if they are Congolese, why you uproot them and send them where? Why don't they have the rights as citizens of that country, like others? And if you choose to, here in Rwanda we have, now it is 125,000 refugees from Eastern Congo of this kind of people. Maybe you should even take interest in visiting these camps and interviewing these people and asking them what their history is. So how does Rwanda become responsible for this? That is one part. The other part is of, you have heard of something called FDLR. These are genociders, the remnants of these murderers of our people here in 1994. The names are known. Even now I can give you 20 names of their leaders who were here, who killed the people in 1994, who are there and leading these groups. The majority of people came back home, Remember, so many, well over 1 million, actually close to 2. In 94, Rwandans had fled and went into Eastern Congo. 99.9% of that group came back home. We have reintegrated them in this country. Again, you can look for these people, they're everywhere. If you want, we can organize for you to meet or send you to villages where they live, different villages, and you talk to them, they will tell you the story. They have come back, they've been reintegrated. They are not a problem to anyone, and no one is a problem to them. They have settled. But that small group that stayed behind is that one which links with other people from outside. Some of them Rwandans, others just outsiders in their own countries who associate with the politics of that time, 1994, of this country. 94, when the genocide was taking place, there were countries outside, people who either play part in their politics or who were associated with this genocide, with its history, and so on and so forth. So these few people who live in Eastern Congo, and some of them live abroad, they work with these people, and all along they have been holding, they have been hoping that they can come back to this country and do the kind of things they used to do when they were still in charge here. And now the government of Congo has armed these people, in fact, 2 forms. One, they have even integrated them in their armed forces. Others operate on their own, but alongside these government forces to fight these people being persecuted, I mentioned, associated with M23 or associated with 120,000, 25,000 people who are living in camps here in Rwanda. And in fact, a bigger number, by the way, lives in the camps in Uganda. There is a bigger number of refugees, including these people, in Uganda. So you have seen in the media everywhere. This is why I'm saying, I really thought you people in the media are more intelligent than this, but you keep disappointing. It is simple. If you investigate a case to know the facts, but I think what happens is that you may even be having the facts, but you want to use them to suit your thinking or I don't know where you come from. If you are so much in love with FDLR, then you always distort things because you want FDLR to be seen in a good light. If you don't like Rwanda, that's a very common thing, then you put things the way that will put Rwanda in a bad light. But that's a different issue. We are used to that. So I take time a bit, if you will, to elaborate on this. So the whole story, the narrative has been created now. You see, Rwanda is involved in Congo. Even there are experts, I'm sure you have seen this group of experts report. I don't know what expertise they have, but they write about Rwanda's forces, RDF, in eastern DRC. Then they are very silent on government of Congo associating with FDLR and creating it and arming it and growing it to be a bigger force. They are very silent on that. That is how far their expertise go. And so the narrative is formed to make it sound like Eastern Congo's problem is actually created by Rwanda. But from these facts I'm telling you, that can be cross-checked as to their veracity, will show you a different story. And again, the narrative has been about turning a perpetrator into a victim. And this goes very well and relates to the genocide story and the story of Rwanda. And it is not just in the region, it goes way beyond. You saw, I was talking about the journalists a while ago. You have seen a consortium of journalists putting themselves together from across the world, or to just put Rwanda in a certain light where the Rwanda is always the bad guy everywhere, for itself, for the region, for the continent, and so the game goes on and on and on. So that just doesn't happen by accident. It happens by design. And that relates very well with the story of Eastern Congo, which I'm explaining to you. In fact, in the same room some time back, another journalist was asking me, why are you helping M23 and so on and so forth? Because of the contempt I had for this kind of, and I still have for this kind of narrative. It made me give him a reply, like I was saying, if it were you, why would you not help M23? And why I was saying that was to inform this person that actually the problem is not M23. The problem is not Rwanda. You have to look deeper to understand why why would somebody who was taken to Congo during the colonial period be shown exit from that place and sent to Rwanda? What crime has that person committed? Or what crime has Rwanda committed that happened? Who is responsible? You know it very well in Uganda, in Kisoro, that district has many Ugandans, but associated with Rwanda, because in fact, along the border we have relatives on one side, some living on one side, others living on the other side. It dates back that time of colonial period. But I have never had Uganda disassociate itself or persecute or remove these people from Uganda and send them to Rwanda, neither would we be saying, you have relatives across, why don't you find them there and go and live with them and leave this place? So why does it happen in Eastern Congo? And why do people get confused about it? To the point they keep asking questions relating to it. So the issue can't be that Rwanda has forces in Eastern Congo. No, the issue must be, ask yourself, why? If that is true, why? That's how really intelligent people should behave. You should be asking yourself, why? Why is, much as you could also be asking yourself, why are these Congolese being uprooted from Congo and sent as refugees to Uganda or to Rwanda? You should be asking yourself this question, or you should be asking the ones behind it. You should be asking these Congolese, why they will be doing that? Because the issue of whether Rwanda is in Congo or doing this or doing that, in fact, comes much later. And I'm happy to explain to you once you've answered these underlying questions. So, sorry to take that long, but it has been repetitive every time. And then you have experts telling a story that doesn't reflect any expertise. So, what I'm telling you are things I tell these people of the UN or whether European Union or US or whoever, some of these journalists or even political officials who come and that's why this world is in turmoil. No wonder you just have people. I think people have been operating like robots. So that is the answer, my sister.
Thank you, sir. We'll stay in the back, Sila, and then we go to RFI.
Alors bonjour, je suis Panda Silla de Label TV Sénégal. Alors Monsieur le Président, Son Excellence, le Rwanda est aujourd'hui en Afrique et partout dans le monde considéré comme un modèle de réussite, de développement, de sécurité 30 ans après le génocide. Alors quelles sont les clés de cette prouesse? Et ma deuxième question, la Constitution du Rwanda de 2015 vous autorise à rester au pouvoir jusqu'en 2034. Comptez-vous rester au pouvoir jusqu'à cette date d'échéance? Je vous remercie.
Well, I'm sure there are other success stories across the world, even on our continent. People do what they have to do, but in our case, I think we have made progress because we have concentrated on the real issues that matter to people, and that is the people themselves. We have concentrated on what matters to them, what improves their lives, and we have deployed every penny of our limited resources to just do that, whether it is in the area of education, health, infrastructure, agriculture, for their food self-sufficiency, and many things we have. And I'm saying deployed every penny by also meaning that we make sure that every penny that we have goes in the right place. In many places, it is stolen. from the treasury to where it is supposed to be, maybe half of it is pocketed by some individuals, so gets lost through some other means. So we make sure we fight that alongside everything else we are doing. So this, and we are committed to doing it, and we are not apologetic about doing it, to make sure that we hold ourselves accountable and we hold each other accountable, and that's important. I think for us, the progress we make, even with our limited resources, is because we make sure that every part of that goes to where it was planned to go. So that really is the issue. Now, talking about politics, about the campaigns, the elections, and me being there and so on. You know, human beings, all of us, without exception, is none, live only for so long. All of us. In fact, like maybe if I'm looking around the room, maybe in another 40 years, 50 would be on the higher side, I'm not sure, but let me be generous. In another 50 years, none of the people sitting here in this room will probably be around. So that's where we all go, no question about it. But while we are living, while we are still on this earth, we want to do what we want to do as individuals, as people, meaning collectively, and so on and so forth. So collectively, and by the way, it started by accident, meaning for me to be the president. It started here as an accident. Well, first of all, as an accident or luck, that I survived the many years that could have taken my life as many others' lives were lost. So I was lucky to be alive to the point that I became president. So it wasn't by plan at all. Even if it was to be by plan, I was still lucky. The second is that even as I was still alive at the beginning of this whole process, of 30 years we've been here, some other people were chosen to be president. I wasn't. I was suggested in '94, I refused. I just felt I wasn't in a position to be president. So I worked with others to put another president there, who later on, whatever happened, was removed by Parliament. And it's like those who wanted me to be president at the beginning came back to me and said, you see, we told you that allowing another person like this to be president. I said, I didn't know. Maybe you didn't know also. You're just blaming me for. So they said, now you should be president. Okay. Then I had been here 6 years, I think, doing other things for my country. I accepted to be president. Now, from that time, it's like I committed an offense, accepting to be president. Every day I'm being asked, when are you leaving? When are you going? So, these people who made me president are telling me they still want me to be president. Somebody else somewhere says, no, you are here too long. But these guys who even ask these questions or who tell me that, even if they wanted, they cannot be the president of Rwanda because they don't belong here. So now I really get confused, and I think this is not fair. Because when are you leaving? Now, as I have said, there was a time I wasn't president. I didn't even want to be president. I refused, actually. Now, when I became president, and the people of this country who matter to me more than anybody anywhere else keep saying, we want you here. Oh, by the way, we have also had open conversations with them in our meetings of the party I lead. I have been telling them to actually look for another person. I've told them in 2017, but I started in 2010. 2017, I was more vocal on that. And even recently, I told them the same. The leaders of the party are here, the chairman, vice chairman, and the secretary general in this room. They are here with you. They can tell you what I told them. I've been asking them to, even if I'm agreeing to be president, they should not forget to be working very hard to identify people who will follow in my footpaths. Every day I remind them. Now, but I think for them they're operating like, as long as he has some breath in him, let's squeeze every bit of it. So, and I've been telling you, no, I don't have to stay here doing. So, but I know for sure somebody will be found sooner than later, if we don't count the many years I've been around, going forward. Because that is a necessity. So, but the other necessity that conflicts with that is for the people, my party and the people of this country. It goes beyond the party of RPF. It actually goes to the whole country. When so there is a conflict between the necessity for me to do other things and somebody else leads the country or even the party. But there is also the reality that those people who make that decision are also still demanding that I stay there. So my question is to them as it is to me, so you want me to stay here until when? Because I know there will be a time when I shouldn't be here or I want to be here. So, but if you could only bear with us and it becomes our problem, internal problem which we have to resolve, maybe we shall find a solution sooner than later. But when from outside, where you have your own problems to deal with, of your own, in your own countries, I guess there is nobody who doesn't have a country here. So better tend to those problems of your country, or your countries, and leave this problem of ours to us. We shall resolve it, one way or the other. And whatever happens, whether there will be better people than me, even and that's a big possibility, or those who will come and try to run down what you have been building over the years, there is nothing we can do about it. Especially there is nothing you from outside can do about it.
Thank you, sir. BBC.
murakoze nyakubahwa perezida wa repubulika. Nitwa Cyuzuzo, ndi umunyamakuru wa BBC. BBC.
Harya muvuga Ikinyarwanda?
Yego.
Okay.
Mu 2018 inteko ishinga amategeko yatoye itegeko rishyiraho umushahara fatizo mu gufasha abakozi bo hasi cyane, ariko iteka rya minisitiri ryagombaga gushyiraho uwo mushahara fatizo ntabwo rigeze risohoka kugeza ubu ngubu. Nifuza kubaza niba hari impamvu zatumye ridasohoka kandi niba hari icyo muzabikoraho muri manda yanyu itaha. Murakoze.
I can nabisubiza mu buryo nubwo ntabizi neza ibyo ari byo by'imishahara fatizo byashyizweho n'itegeko ariko ntisohoke cyangwa ntitangwe. Ntabwo nakubwira ko ntabizi. Birantangaje ko bari mbibazwa na BBC, abantu hano mu gihugu bifataho ntawe barabimbaza kandi bafite uburyo bwo kubibaza, ariko icyo nagusezeranya byo ni ukubisuzuma kureba uko binateye n'impamvu. Mbere hose bajya gushyiraho iryo tegeko barishyizeho ngo rikore nyine, niba hari ikitarashobotse cyangwa se baribeshye mu ngengo y'imari basanze nta bushobozi bifite, ariko ibyo nabyo byagomba kuba byarizwe mbere yo gushyiraho iryo tegeko ribwira abantu kuzamura imishahara cyangwa ikipe. Ariko icyo kibazo cyo numva turaza gushaka uburyo bwo kugisubiza ndetse tuzabishyira hanze nawe bikugeraho.
Thank you, sir. We can take 2 last questions. Sunday Live.
Let's see how we can go for as long as we can.
Okay.
At least you are not complaining about taking long on answering questions.
I
You
don't
can only
think.
complain about my being in power for long, but I allow you to ask for as long as we can be here.
Sunday Live.
My name is Mahlangu Isaac from Sunday Times in South Africa. Now that you seek a second mandate, what do you think are the aspirations of the Rwandan people as you want them to grant you another mandate on Monday? What do they want to see in the next 5 years?
I hope I will not be misunderstood. I actually haven't been seeking any mandate. The RPF and these Rwandans have been asking me to stand for another mandate. At a personal level, I would comfortably go home and rest. It really takes a toll on me to handle these Rwandan problems. But while I have been there, and I am there now, and I may be there for a few more years, I think even the demands have been made clear by these Rwandans. I'm sure if you have followed these campaigns, the rallies, you have heard them. They want more development, want more roads, more hospitals, more schools, and quality increased for all of that. And that's what I'm thinking of providing. They need more investments in infrastructure, in technology, in being able to feed themselves, and feed the markets, thereby earn money from that. So it's all what we have to do, that we have been doing, but if we can move faster, if we can do better delivery of services in different sectors, I think that's what the Rwandans want. So So that's what preoccupies me, that's what I have in mind, that we should be working together with Rwandans to deliver that to them.
Thank you, sir. Goloba, welcome.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. My name is Frederick Goloba Mtevi. I'm an independent researcher and analyst. Your Excellency, I've had the good fortune to follow you around throughout this campaign. And there are two issues that have come to my mind that I thought I should ask you about. One of them is almost at every rally, you've been giving this message to young people to step up and take responsibility for the gains Rwanda has made in the last 30 years. You keep going back to it at every rally. And I've been wondering, is there a deeper message in this, or is this just what we see? Are you saying something deeper than what seems apparent? The second question, Your Excellency, is watching all your rallies, it strikes me that the RPF is a formidable political machine. Clearly, anyone who looks at it can see it. I'm wondering what it is that you and others in the RPF are doing to ensure that when you're gone, this thing we see going up doesn't go down.
Yeah. Well, really the message, whether deeper or what it has been all along, is the young people understanding and feeling that they are the ones who hold responsibility for their lives, the lives of everybody in the country, and especially in the near future, they are the leaders. It's what I'm raising and alerting them about. It's not tomorrow that I'll tell them that. It should be yesterday that they became aware of that. So that is the only essence, the real essence of repeating that message. And the progress that has been made, that people refer to under the RPF and so on and so forth. Yes, in fact, happened. Even the liberation itself happened with the young people taking responsibility for all that. Even when I became president, I think I was still in my 30s. And the others who are everywhere doing different important things are much younger than me. So I'm only telling them that it is now that you young people should be thinking about this responsibility you have to yourselves and to the country. So that is, and again, it actually links with the second question you've asked. Once people grow up understanding their responsibilities and that things that don't happen or that you don't wait until somebody else comes to your rescue and helps you out on different things. It is that group of people that from whom there will emerge leaders who step forward and even be leaders of this country and one way or another. And with the sense of responsibility comes the understanding of the story where you have come from and where you are and where you want to be. So if there has been some level of success with my leadership, it can't be me alone, but also it doesn't mean that it is only me alone that can succeed as we lead this country. So it just comes from that conversation, it comes from the experience, and what you see, the results, and the moment you go through a number of years following the story and associating the message with the results, I think many people are formed by that and are helped by that to go beyond just the ordinary and thinking they are there just to be led, but also can aspire to lead. That's what gives, otherwise there is no mathematical formula that you can apply and say this and this and this and this put together, you will always come out like that. So this is why I'm saying I cannot tell what is going to happen when the current crop of leaders, whether it is the RPF or government, that what will follow will either be a disaster or will be better, or I have no formula to, and I think nobody has that formula anywhere, whether here or anywhere else. But you keep investing the right way. You invest in people, like through education, for people to have good health, and but also to have clarity of mind as to what countries, people, societies are, and what these real aspirations are. And that they are the only ones, they are mainly the ones who can make things happen. So I have no other way of telling, of foretelling what, but I try to do what I think matters in preparation for the future by the people that are around, especially the young people who. And what I see encourages me now, when throughout the campaigns and campaign rallies, I think you can see people and feel assured that they are there for a purpose, they know what they are doing, maybe, and they will do it when that time comes.
VOA.
Hello, Mr. President. My name is Mariama Diallo. I'm the Nairobi Bureau Chief for VOA. So a lot of my questions have been asked, but I do want to follow up on that, the post-Kagame era. You talked about leaders come and go, but good leaders also plan. So you talk about your party haven't been able to find somebody, but my question to you is, would you be participating in grooming that next person who's going to be here to continue the work that you've done? My second question has to do with what just happened in Kenya with President Ruto. You were just there recently participating in the Africa Development Bank meeting. So I'm just curious to know, have you spoken to President Ruto about the recent event that has happened in his country? Given that the issue that he's dealing with has to do with Gen Zs, the youth, and their preoccupation. And I think that's not an issue just to Kenya. It's, are you worried about something like that could have repercussions in the region? I just covered elections in Senegal, and those young people had the same issues that the Kenyan youth has, which is the high cost of living, basically jobs. So just wondering for you what you think about the events that have happened in Kenya, and are you worried that it could spread in the region? Thank you.
Yeah. But I think the first question has really more or less been answered. But let me add, I don't like this whole idea of grooming. Grooming focuses on one person or another. I prefer doing it generally. Like when I talked about encouraging young people and government making investments in their future, like education, like business, their health, and so on and so forth. And then that part of politics always being there, reminding them, hey, you guys wake up. This is your responsibility. You can't just be there. So from among them, one or two, whatever number you want, among these people, there will always be somebody to play that role. You would be grooming somebody, a specific person for. This is why I told the party last time, recently, that, in fact, I told them openly, it's like maybe you were even listening to me, but the question was answered then. I told them, I said, I'm not going to name anybody for you to lead you. You be the ones to look for somebody to lead you from among us. These people sitting here. We were about 3,000 in this, some other place where there is a big conference hall. And I was telling everybody, I said, I'm not going to anoint somebody for you. You be the ones, you keep looking around and appreciating people and doing that. And from that bunch of people, you should have a leader you want, but not the leader you point a finger at and say, this is going to be your leader. Actually, that is a recipe for maybe the disaster you keep referring to, after me, after me. I don't want to leave somebody and leave a disaster for the people after me. So if they choose a disaster, it will be their disaster they have chosen, not the one I have given them. I don't want to be associated with that. So there is, but once the politics, and then doing the things that matter to people, but once you interest people in politics and they become part of it, they always have somebody, fairly and maybe justifiably chosen from among them to lead. So then what you said about, I don't very much like, again, talking about other countries or other societies and what they have, whether it is progress or it is problems or whatever. People will always emerge out of that and they address their own problems. So that Gen Z you're talking about that should not always be associated with being part of the problem, where things explode and no. Actually, they should be part of preventing that but of course, I fully understand what that means. It all comes down to politics. if these young people are involved from the beginning, and a culture grows where the young people participate and in the good politics of any country, then they don't end up just being people demonstrating on the streets, destroying this or that. No, they actually end up being part of a situation or creating it that prevents that from happening. And that, therefore, that calls for them to be linked right from the beginning with the politics, and even above, where the higher leadership is, down to that level of this generation, there must be communication that enables them to, and so that things they complain about don't happen in one incident, in one explosion of things. And no, but that flow of grievances happens in the daily life, and then there is always going to be a way of addressing that, and therefore preventing some disasters from happening. Otherwise, I always keep off other people's affairs. I have no lessons for anybody. I'm stuck with my own problems, trying to deal with them on a daily basis. So I can't add on that burden of even assuming too much that I have an answer for other people's problems. So but every situation has problems, but there is also a way to address those problems. But it is the people of any country that we have to deal with that.
Thank you, sir. We can take two last questions.
But there are some people on your left who are up there asking.
We are balancing both sides so that everyone does not feel left out. We could go to Genoa.
Good afternoon, Your Excellency. I'm Ji Li from Xinhua News Agency, the China state media. So my question related with China. Since Rwanda and China established diplomatic relations, the bilateral relationship has been remarkable development, with cooperation deepening in various fields. So how do you evaluate the achievements of the bilateral relationship over the past 50 years? And in which areas do you expect further cooperation between the two countries in the future? Thank you.
We have had a good relationship with China, and we want to keep it so. We have not had actually problems with China at all. That doesn't mean we agree on everything. Sometimes we disagree or we agree, but when you disagree and there is a channel of communication to each side, it's understanding or grievances, if it amounts to that, it always is a good relationship. And we have a good relationship with many other countries, whether in Asia or the West. And it is a principled relationship we always insist on. We have had, of course, relationships where some people want to be overbearing and they're telling you, you must do this, you have to do this, you shouldn't do this. And we have been in a very good position and have learned through experience. We politely but firmly tell people that we also have ideas about what we want and how we want the relationship to be and what we want in that relationship. And Some we have agreed and it has caused problems, others it doesn't cause problems. Even with those who don't understand and it causes problems, we are happy to go along and even do the same next time. On this one, so far, we are firm about what our country wants, what we are doing, and we happily tell anybody who thinks they can come riding over us to tell them that
Thank you, sir.
They've made a mistake.
Al Jazeera. It's coming to you.
Laith Mushtaq from Al Jazeera. Back to the same report you mentioned before, Your Excellency, about issued by United Nations, was covering two things: the mining and the military situation in east of Congo. And 4 days later, there is a statement from State Department of United States was focusing on the mining. In your point of view, Your Excellency, why both the report and the statement, they just overlook the political situation? Thank you.
Well, that is really a question I can't answer easily because I don't know. Otherwise, the State Department, which represents the United States does more mining in eastern Congo or in Congo than Rwanda can ever do, not even 100. So why they would be talking about that and not about themselves, I don't even understand. So that one, how can I answer that? Then you have a group of experts, you said, talking about what? Mining and military situation. Military situation, the way they talk about it, they talk about maybe 15% of the problem. Even then, they don't put facts or evidence to it. This is why I think I explained it. If you are talking about RDF, Rwandan Defense Forces, and M23, and you are silent, I think I answered that, and you are silent about FDLR, and you are silent about the government of Congo expelling its own people from the country to go somewhere else, using these genociders who are here, who killed our people. How can I answer that honestly? I mean, you should be able to make that judgment yourself, or anybody here who sees that should be able to make the judgment. It's not up to me to answer that. I don't know how to answer it. I don't know how to answer that somebody is associated with the problem and is saying it the way they want people to see it or to understand it. I have no answer for that. I can't explain it. They should be the ones to explain it. In fact, I wish one day you could meet those people and ask them and say, why you, is it because this is not happening? Or is it because it is not there? Is that you are silent about it, that you are talking about something else that either is less important or actually is not happening, or if it was happening, it is happening for that reason you are silent about, then they are the ones who can explain it better than myself. But we have told all of them, maybe you have also seen how we have responded to some of it. But we have told them that by that they have only become part of the problem, and they are not anywhere near being part of the solution. But I thought we must be having or looking at finding ways to have a solution to that problem. But if you handle it like that, you are not finding a solution. Rather, you are adding to the problem or even complicating it even more.
Thank you, sir. We'll take the last question now from RBA.
Two more questions. If we could do quickly, we could have another two.
Another two after RBA? Okay.
Murakoze cyane, nitwa Jean Claude Mutuyezu, ni umunyamakuru wa RBA. Mu minsi mumaze mwiyamamaza mwakunze kugaruka ku mvugo ivuga yuko iyi politiki yo kwiyamamaza n'ubundi yihariye cyane ko FPR yagiye ifatanya n'indi mitwe ya politiki. Munagaruka cyane ku bijyanye n'ubudasa bw'abanyarwanda. Ese ubu budasa twavuga ko buva kuki? Nanone twibaza ngo muri manda ikurikiyeho ni ibiki muteganyiriza abanyarwanda bijyanye n'imvugo mukunze kugarukaho cyane y'ubudasa? Murakoze cyane.
Ubudasa buturuka ku mateka. Ni amateka barambivuga buri munsi. Ni amateka biturukaho u Rwanda aho ruvuye, byarubayeho, hanyuma uko abantu babisohokamo. U Rwanda rw'amateka y'amacakubiri n'u Rwanda rushyira abanyarwanda bose hamwe n'ibintu bitandukanye. Muri uko gushyira abantu bose hamwe rero bahera ku mateka mabi bakareba icyo u Rwanda rushyira abantu hamwe rukora kugira ngo abanyarwanda bose bibone mu bikorwa no mu bibageraho. Ibyo ubwabyo bisobanura bwa budasa. Ni nayo mpamvu ndetse aho twagiye tujya kwiyamamaza hose abantu baza ari benshi, inshuro 10 zirenga n'iki, baza ari benshi bavuga, ubona bitabiriye iki kintu kimwe. Ugomba gutekereza nyine ukavuga uti aba bantu bagomba kuba bumva neza aho tuvuye, bumva neza aho dushaka kujya. Icyo batora rero niyo nzira ibaganisha aho bashaka kujya, kandi bose. Iyo bimeze bityo ibindi byose ni ubusa. Umuntu uhagarara ikantarange akavuga ati hari umuntu babujije kuvuga biki, hari ibihumbi magana angahe byahoze biri aho bivuga, ibyo ni ugukora ubusa, uranabyihorera ugakomeza. So abanyarwanda rero icyo bashaka barakizi bo, baracyerekana ari mu bikorwa. Ntabwo ari n'ibikorwa by'amatora gusa, ahubwo biriya bikorwa by'amajyambere bigenda bibaho bikorwa n'abanyarwanda. Abanyarwanda bitabira buri kintu cyose, iyo bahaye uburyo barabukoresha bakagera ku byo bifuza. Abo ngabo rero iyo bakubwiye icyo bashaka n'icyo ukora, kuko ni ibyabo. So ntabwo numva rero mu manda yindi ikindi se cyaba iki kitari ugukomeza ibyo dusanzwe dukora nyine, ibyo by'iterambere, by'umutekano n'imiyoborere myiza. Demokarasi ga n'ikivuze, demokarasi ivuze imiyoborere myiza, guhitamo abantu bakagera ku cyo bashaka. Nicyo tugerageza gushyira ku murongo. Nibyo bikomeza, nta bindi bishya byaturutse ahandi dushaka gukora.
Scovia.
Murakoze nyakubahwa Perezida wa Repubulika, nitwa Scovia Mutesi, ndi umwanditsi w'ikinyamakuru Mama urwa Gasabo. Bigaragara ko abanyarwanda bamaze guhamagarirwa kujya mu bigo by'imari mu kwizigama, ariko hashize igihe Minisiteri y'Ubucuruzi n'Inganda ndetse na Minisiteri y'Imari bavuga ko hari uburyo abantu babaga muri Banque Populaire bafitemo imigabane iza kugurishwa ibikigo cy'imari aho kugira ngo ikomeze iby'abaturage, imigabane yabo ntibayihabwa imyaka irenga 2 babaza iki kibazo batarabona igisubizo. Bifuzaga niba hari icyo mushobora kubafasha bakabona imigabane yabo cyangwa bakajya muri iyo banke y'ubucuruzi bagurishirijwemo. Murakoze nyakubahwa.
Yes, icyo nagusezeranya cyo reka tuve muri ibi ngibi tubanze tujye twicare mu ntebe neza, nibirangira byose byarangiye tujye usubiye muri leta, icyo tuzagiheraho. Ntabwo numva aho gikomerera kuba kitarangira, icyo rwose kizaba mu bya mbere bizakemurwa. Kabineti ya mbere nuyibona uzanyibutsa, uzanyohereza SMS mbwira uti tari cya kibazo, tuzagiheraho mu byo tuzaheraho.
Thank you, Your Excellency. We may conclude here. I would like to thank you for your time and wish you a successful voting day on Monday. Thank you.
I hope there are not too many questions going back without being asked. So
I think you covered all the questions.
see you
sir.
next time.
Thank you.
Yes,
Thank you so much, Mr. President, for this time. There has been noticeable increase in the genocide denial globally, and with media outlets adopting narratives from figures like Victor Ingabire, Charles Onana, Jambo ASBL, and this is affecting actually remarkably the younger generation. How, now that you are running for another term, how are you going to tackle these issues? And mu Kinyarwanda nifuzaga kubariza abanyarwanda baturiye imirenge itandukanye mu ntara, twarabonye ibikorwa byinshi cyane mwagiye mukorera abanyarwanda, aho uturere tugenda duhura n'utundi duturana mu buhahirane hakoreshejwe imihanda iri gudrone, ariko hari imirenge myinshi cyane itarabasha guhura n'indi kugira ngo bahahirane mu buryo bworoshye, bahura n'ivumbi cyangwa se abandi bataba bafite n'amazi. Ibi byo muteganya kubikoraho iki, ese bizaba vuba?
Well, ibyo by'imihanda n'ibiki rwose biri kuri gahunda. Ibitarakorwa nuko tutarabona neza ubushobozi, ibyo dushaka gukora n'ubushobozi bwacu ntibingana, ariko biratinda ntibihera, bigeraho bigakorwa, n'ibyo bizakorwa. Nasezeranya ko bizakorwa ibyo byose. Iyo gahunda bavuze ko yatangiye niko izakomeza kandi zihutishwa ahubwo kurushaho, kubera ko duhora dushakisha amikoro ku buryo byashobora no kwihuta. Ibijyanye na genocide deniers, abo bariho, ingaruka zabyo tujye tuzirwanya ku buryo bitagira uwo bihutaza, ndetse abatoya mujye mubyanga mubishyira hanze. Ibyo birahari bishyigikiwe n'abantu bamwe hanze, n'iki birirwa basakuza, ariko nicyo nababwiraga, ari ubwo basakuza ngo baguteshe umurongo uve ku byo wakoraga ujye muri ibyo bitagira icyo, kandi bamwe baranashyigikiwe n'ibihugu cyangwa imiryango cyangwa iki bifite ubushobozi, ariko icyo dufitiye ubushobozi twebwe nuko ibyo ngibyo ntacyo byadukoraho hano na kimwe. naho aba bandi ba Ingabire n'abandi bandi Ingabire suye ariko twarekuye wari twagiriye imbabazi akava mu gufungwa yari afunzwe n'uba bakirimo ariko hasohokeye niyo neza yitura abanyarwanda buriya nta amaherezo yo ntabwo azaba meza uramwihorera akarwana n'ikimurimo kibi kikaba aricyo kimugiraho ingaruka n'abandi bose babonana baba mu Bufaransa baba hehe birirwa basakuza bariya mwebwe babatwaye iki muzabareke niko bameze muzabake bapfa urwo bapfuye ntayo bakwiriye hari abo bakorana nabo nk'ibi twahoze tuvuga by'intambara zo muri Eastern Congo n'ibindi iki gihugu cya Congo kirabafasha kibagira giteki ariko iyo bigeze aho uboneho tubijyamo ariko muzi ko nabyo bafite aho bagarukira ntabwo bageraho bigira ingaruka ku banyarwanda gusa gutyo icyo gihe iyo byageze aho nyine ikibazo gishakirwa undi muti ntacyo nibwira cyahungabanya igihugu cyacu cyangwa abanyarwanda kuri abo ngabo bifuriza u Rwanda nabi cyangwa bavuga nabi ntibikabatesha umwanya ngo bibaraze ijoro ry'ubusa mujye mubasubiza ariko iyo bavuga ibitari byo mubasubize ariko barenze umurongo bakagira ikindi bakora ibyo byo ingaruka zabyo zirahari ntacyo bashobora kugeraho